Hello everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well this week. I feel like the pressure around 2025 planners has really amped up this month, and I don't know if anyone else has been feeling similar, but this year I feel like it's given me a lot more anxiety, and I'm not even planning on buying a 2025 planner. I'm in rings currently, and I feel super content with this, but even then I've just been feeling like lately there's been a lot more anxiety mixed with maybe like FOMO this year, but that could also just be me being crazy. And new planner releases are a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if you go into it blind along with the kind of anxiety that's in the air, it can really complicate things. So I wanted to share some tips that I learned this year that may help your approach to 2025 planner shopping, or even just the needs in your current book, and hopefully make the 2025 planner experience a little less stressful. So I have personally had 3 planner hops this year, one of which being this B6 book, and I would consider my planner hops a little bit more circumstantial maybe than impulsive, but obviously I'm just one person and one experience, so all of these tips or suggestions may not apply to you, and that's totally fine. Take what you need from this video and leave what you don't. And if you have anything you found helpful this year that you would like to share with others, please definitely share it below. I have gotten such good inspo from comments that you guys have left on my videos in the past, so please definitely feel free to share any and all planner wisdom that you might have. I am calling this the FF method, which is just short for function and feel. I've mentioned this before on my channel, but when trying to find the perfect planner, I really think that 9 out of 10 times it's always going to come down to a combination of the function and feel of a notebook. So I am a visual learner, so I'm going to draw this out a little bit today, and we are just going to find a blank page in here. I'll use this one. So for today, we are going to use a toolbox as a metaphor for planners, because our notebooks kind of are a little bit like toolboxes, but hopefully this analogy and this visual can kind of help you see things in a different way. So I'm just going to draw a not good toolbox. This is already so sketchy. I like to say that I'm an artist, but this is not really helping my case. All right, so we're gonna pretend that we are going toolbox shopping, and all the hot new toolboxes are releasing this fall for 2025. So in order to find the best toolbox, we're gonna look at what we need in terms of function and feel. So when you think of function, I want you to think of the tools that are actually inside of your toolbox. And when you think of feel, I want you to think about the box itself, kind of how the toolbox feels, and just kind of, I also like to call this like the user experience a little bit. So I'm going to use myself as an example for today's video. So we're going to go ahead and start with function. I recommend drawing this out yourself if you're able to. If not, I will have a PDF in the description that kind of has this built out a little bit better, and you can just fill it in yourself. So when it comes to function, I am going to list out all of the tools that I know that I absolutely need inside my toolbox. So when it comes to mine, I know that I definitely need a monthly, weekly, and daily section. That's kind of a non-negotiable for me. I need it to be functional. So along with that, I need it to be functional, but I also need it to have some sort of degree of like hobbiness. Like I still need it to be fun, because if my toolbox is not fun, I'm not going to use it. I also need my toolbox to function as both a planner and a journal. Some people may like to separate this out and have one toolbox for journaling and one for planning, but I am someone who needs mine to function as both. I also need some degree of customization to mine. So I can't be super strict or rigid with like the pre-printed layouts of my book. I need a little bit of customization or freedom in that. So these are some of my non-negotiables when it comes to my toolbox in regards to function. This may look a little bit different for you. You may have multiple of these depending on how many notebooks you plan on using at the same time, but write out your definite tools needed, and then next we're gonna move on to feel. So what do we want our toolbox to look like and feel like when you're using it? If this part isn't as important for you, you could probably just stop here and move on to the next step. But for me, feel is probably equally as important as the function of my book, and that's just kind of how my brain works. So for feel, I have learned that I need thin paper. I need my toolbox to be portable. So for me, that's gonna look between a personal and B6 size. I just need one toolbox, so I don't need multiple because I'm someone who likes to have everything together. I also need my toolbox to feel soft in a way, and for me that means I just need it to feel cozy and not kind of like sterile feeling or like too professional feeling, almost like I need it to kind of feel lived in. So I want my toolbox to be soft in terms of the look and feel of it. And then lastly, I also need some degree of customization in my book. So you could think about this as like covers, pockets, the overall aesthetic and feel of the book. Other things that may matter to you might be color, the weight, the cost of the book, or other, unique features depending on what brand you're looking at. So now that we have our function and feel listed, I'm gonna have you answer a question, which is, for 2025, or even now since 2025 is still a few months away, are you in the mindset of wanting stability in a planning system that feels maybe more comfortable and familiar for you? Or are you in the mindset of change and or experimenting with something new that maybe you haven't tried before? If you are wanting something familiar and stable, then I would take all of these you listed with you into your shopping experience and to not stray away from these at all. So if a toolbox does not contain one or multiple of your non-negotiables, then I would caution purchasing it. However, if you are in the headspace where change and or experimentation is preferred or desired, then take this list into your shopping and just kind of use it as a guide. And if I was in the headspace for experimentation, I would probably personally go through here and maybe highlight the ones that I for sure know that are non-negotiables that I definitely need. And then the ones you don't highlight, you can maybe be a little bit more lenient and open to other options or other books. I think a lot of the time when we approach shopping for planners, especially this season, we're kind of always looking and thinking about what a specific book could do for us instead of what we know already works and that we need to keep in our system. If we want to use the toolbox analogy, I would say it's like buying a toolkit for an issue you don't even have. So like maybe there's a toolbox that is built to specifically help plumbers, but if I know that I need one that's like specific for painting, then it doesn't make sense for me to buy a notebook or to buy a toolbox that like doesn't have the necessary tools in it that I need and that I know helps me function in my day-to-day. So for me personally, I'm not in the mood to experiment. My current system is kind of giving me everything I need in terms of function and feel. So as I go into 2025 shopping season, I'm gonna stick with the same book/brand that I currently have and I know based on where I'm at currently, and I know that my current book is currently meeting all of my needs in terms of function and feel. And I know based on this, I didn't really write anything down that I'm not necessarily missing, so I don't feel like I actually need to buy something this planner season. If you're someone who just enjoys shopping for stationery for the experience and the hobby of it, maybe think about buying a fun book where you have your go-to toolbox, you have your main planner, but maybe you also purchase another one that you're interested in or you think just might bring you joy. I think sometimes depriving yourself of something you really want or might enjoy is almost worse than just like buying it and it not working out. So depending on how you feel this year, maybe give yourself a little freedom and leniency to get something just for fun, to kind of like scratch the itch, but recognize that it might not work out for you in the same way your go-to planner works out, and that's okay. If you feel like this still isn't enough, you could break these down even further. You could get into the specific paper types. So instead of just thin paper, I know I want maybe Tomoe River paper, or maybe instead of it being portable, I know I want exactly a personal size and nothing else. So if you feel like being general is not good enough for you, you could break these down even more. Sometimes it can be hard shopping because a book might not have every single thing you need. And it can also be difficult because sometimes different brands might have very similar books that have all of these things, and so making that decision between one or the other could be difficult. I have some other videos that go into depth about those things a little bit more, but I think this can be just a really good general place to start and to help you make more informed decisions when you're going into shopping. For me, when I see new releases of notebooks and I know I don't need to buy any, I always remind myself that I can appreciate something without having to physically own it, and I can appreciate it from afar. And I think getting off social media has really helped me with that, which I know is not ideal for everybody, but it has definitely contributed, I think, to the overall contentment of my book, and I feel a lot less tempted by all the other options out there. And that's essentially it. That's basically my advice going into the 2025 shopping season. I don't think the process needs to be too strict or too complicated. I think it's best to keep it simple, know what your needs are, and just ask yourself what your wants are currently, and that alone can get you really far when you're shopping. It can definitely get tricky, again, when multiple brands have very similar variations of the same toolbox you want. So you may want to go through and rank some of these to see which are most important to you, but just go with your gut, be patient with yourself. I think it's also important to mention that you could also buy the perfect book, the perfect planner for present you, but when we get to 2025, when you actually start using it in January, that might not be the case anymore. And sometimes life just throws crazy stuff your way, and you can never really prepare for those things. So definitely be patient with yourself. You know yourself best. Go with your gut. And I believe in you. I've definitely gone through my planner troubles this year, but I feel like I'm on the other side of it, and that feels really great, and I hope you experience that feeling too. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I would love to know your feelings going into the 2025 planner shopping season, and I guess maybe what you guys anticipate the trend being this year. I'm very interested to see how it all plays out. These next couple months are going to feel a little bit crazy in regards to new releases, but it's definitely a fun time of year, and I hope this helps you guys. If you have any advice, definitely please leave it below. I think it's always super, super helpful, and I appreciate you all for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.